Walk down a kitchen appliance aisle right now, and something looks different than it did 2 years ago. Where you used to see rows of matte black boxes, all shaped the same, all hiding what's inside. There's glass now, clear bowls, visible baskets, appliances that don't ask you to trust them blindly. It's a small shift in appearance, but it points to something much bigger happening underneath. A change in what people actually expect from the things that cook their food. That change didn't start with a new gadget. It started with a question people had been quietly sitting with for years. What's actually coating the inside of my air fryer, and what happens to it over time? Non-stick surfaces had been the unspoken standard since air fryers first showed up on counters, and for a while, nobody asked much about them. But once PFAS entered everyday conversation, not as a lab term, but as something people recognized from news stories and water reports, that same scrutiny started landing on cookware. Air fryers, used almost daily in most households, ended up right in the middle of it. Ninja was one of the first major brands to answer that shift directly, and they didn't do it quietly. The original CRISPi swapped the coated basket for a glass container system entirely, something you could watch food cook inside of, transfer straight to the fridge, and clean without worrying about a surface wearing down. When the CRISPi Pro followed, it pushed that idea further. An 1,800-watt unit built around a 6-quart XL glass container, with 2 additional cooking modes bringing the total to 6: air fry, bake, roast, dehydrate, max crisp, and recrisp. The container itself scales down to 4-quart and 2.5-quart sizes on the same modular base, so the appliance adjusts to the meal instead of forcing the meal to fit the appliance. But Ninja isn't the whole story here. It's just the version most people noticed first. Kismile took a simpler approach with its 5-quart glass air fryer, 1 borosilicate glass pot, paired with a 304 stainless steel grill rack, running 8 one-touch presets: whole chicken, steaks, pizza, cake, a manual DIY mode, and etc. Adjustable up to 392 degrees with a 60-minute timer. What sets it apart isn't size or modularity, but the small usability details built around the glass itself. A 360-degree viewing window to track doneness without opening anything, a flip reminder that prompts you partway through the cycle, and an auto pause that kicks in the moment you lift the basket out, so there's no risk of hot air catching you off guard mid-check. Somewhere between that and a full-size unit sits NutriChef, whose 5.8-quart glass fryer leans into versatility rather than size. 8 preset cooking modes built around a dishwasher-safe glass container, aimed at people who want one appliance to replace several without losing the transparency that started this whole shift in the first place. On the budget side, Cook with Color has made the format accessible with a straightforward 4-quart glass basket, 6 presets, and a 60-minute timer, proof that trying glass doesn't require flagship money. And Lidl went a step further, releasing its Silvercrest glass air fryer as a near 1-to-1 match for the CRISPi's pod and container layout. A 4-liter and 2-liter glass container pair, 4 presets, and a dial running from 60 to 200 degrees Celsius, at roughly half the price. If most of these models are variations on the same basic idea, a glass container swapped in for a plastic drawer, Fritaire took a different approach altogether. Instead of a drawer or a lift-out bowl, the whole appliance is built around a wide glass mixing bowl with a heating element that sits on top like a lid, powered by 1,300 watts and a 400-degree vortex airflow system. There's no drawer to pull out at all. You load the bowl, set the heating pot on top, and choose from 6 one-touch settings for things like fries, chicken, or dehydrating. A rotisserie spit and tumbling basket come included, turning the same bowl into something closer to a countertop rotisserie oven than a traditional fryer. And because the entire cooking surface is glass, Fritaire built in a self-cleaning cycle, fill the bowl with soapy water, run the hot air circulator, and let it rinse itself from the inside. It's a small detail, but it says something about how far this category has moved. Cleaning a fryer used to mean scrubbing a nonstick basket by hand. Now, for at least one brand, it can mean walking away and letting the appliance do it. What ties all of these together isn't a shared brand or a shared price tag. It's a shared decision to remove the coating entirely rather than improve it. That's worth sitting with for a second because it's a different approach than most of the cookware industry has taken. Ceramic coatings marketed themselves as the PFAS-free fix, but ceramic is still a coating, and coatings still wear down with heavy use over time. Stainless steel avoids that problem too, but most stainless air fryer ovens are bulkier, oven-style units where food sticks more without added oil. Glass sidesteps the debate completely. There's no coating to evaluate, degrade, or replace, because there was never one there to begin with. Even with that advantage, the trade-offs are worth being honest about. Glass containers are heavier than plastic baskets, sometimes noticeably so once you're lifting a full 6-quart unit off the counter. They take up more storage space, and unlike a scratched basket, a cracked glass bowl isn't something you can just cook around. It's done. For smaller kitchens or anyone who values light, stackable appliances, that weight and fragility is a real cost, not a minor footnote. Even with that trade-off, the direction is hard to miss. When a market leader like Ninja rebuilds its flagship product around a material change rather than a new gimmick, and smaller brands from Elite Gourmet to NutriChef to Cook with Color follow with their own versions at completely different price points, that's not a coincidence. That's an industry responding to something its customers were already asking for. Air fryers themselves aren't new. What's new is the standard people are holding them to. And glass, heavy as it is, happens to be the material that finally met that standard without asking anyone to just take its word for it. That was all. If you have thoughts, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. And if you found this review helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.